What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at an early alpha build of Vertical Kingdom. This is a game that I've had in my library for a little bit, but I was waiting for all the bits and pieces to get there because effectively what this game is a roguelite city builder. And so ultimately you are the king of a land that is rebuilding after a massive world war has torn the whole place apart, and you're basically repopulating all the areas that were cleared out by violence. And so ultimately you're going to be building on these little tiny maps over and over and over again, and like a big part of the game is figuring out how to properly use your space in order to get things where you want them to go in order to hit the caps for the missions that you're trying to hit. And I do think that the game is compelling. It's obviously early on and it still needs like some work and kind of some restructuring and like I think some support mechanics, but aside from that I think it's got a very, very pleasant graphical style, and honestly the game is really, really chill to play. So we're going to dive on in today, spend about 25 minutes with the game, and see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list or otherwise pass on. If after watching this you did want to get the game for yourself, I have a link for you down below in the description. You'll also find a link to my Discord and my Twitch stream where I frequently play the games that I've been playing here on the channel in longer format, just in case the 30 minutes was not enough. But let's go ahead and jump on into, we're going to go into Empire mode because I think that's the best mode. That's kind of like the intended mode for the game. There is a tutorial for this game that will teach you how to play. On top of that, there is also a campaign that I think is like 8 or 10 missions long that I've played through. And during that campaign, basically it'll slowly unfold mechanics so that you can figure them out. And then ultimately it seems to me that all that stuff is just practice for the Empire mode, which is you going out and repopulating the world. So this right here is my camp. This is where we're going to be operating out of. We can actually go back to the throne room as well. And there's going to be upgrades and things that we can do along all of these fronts. If you see menus that seem to be like largely empty, that's because the game is still in development. So there's like a lot of things missing as far as I can tell. But anyways, if you click right here, there's lots and lots of upgrades and things that we can do. Well, there's 4 upgrades. Okay, this menu is not fully filled out, but like in the last 4 days since I played the game last, they've added more things. And so there is actual work being done on the game. But you can unlock new buildings by, well, you unlock them permanently. And so you're always going to unlock these buildings and things as you get your population up as you're playing through the game, like kingdom-wide, I guess. But you unlock them permanently through here so that you don't have to unlock them with population anymore on your given runs. The game actually has a really, really great graphical art style. Like, I think the developer has a large amount of talent for creating scenescapes, in all honesty. The game's use of parallax and just general perspective and whatnot is really, really good. This is one of those games that you kind of drink in like a feast for your eyes. It's very, very pretty. So anyways, let's get to the game proper. We can really only play inside regions Serpens right now. I haven't gotten to Scorpius or Lacus yet, but we'll do Serpens. I've been doing some unlocks over here, and so it's been going reasonably well. Along the way, the game is going to procedurally generate a map, and we're going to move along it on a track very much like FTL with like random events and things like that. That's the first city that I ever built. Right there in the background. I don't know why. It just grabs the first city that you ever build on the first level that you ever play, and it puts it in the background for the remainder of your playthrough when you're going to like your camp menu. Inside the camp menu, there's a lot more stuff that we can unlock. I've gone ahead and I've done some of the preliminary unlocks that make the game flow a little bit better. You will find that the early game in this title is a little bit slow until you get some like the permanent unlocks. You're going to find that you're going to go into the campaign map and kind of do like 2 or 3 missions and then come back because like you're going to run out of resources and things of that nature. But for now, we should be able to have a good long run here, I think. As you complete objectives, you're going to get Empire resources. Those are going to allow you to either buy buildings permanently here or buy buildings permanently inside the throne room by renovating and making it nicer. When I first arrived here, there are graphical accompaniments as well. When I first arrived here, it was just 2 guards and a table standing in the middle of sand dunes, and this is all the stuff that's kind of popped up as I've upgraded my camp and gotten things unlocked. Let's go ahead and go into the game proper. So here is our track that we need to run along in order to do a good job. My suggestion would be that we take the middle lane right here, because these are random events. They tend to give you a bunch of resources. These are missions right here where you actually have to build up a town. These right here are outposts that you can establish that will just generate resources for you, which can be very, very helpful and keep your run going well past its prime. The downside is we don't really have a lot of outposts on this map that are going to be accessible. And so from taking a look at it, I think the best we can do in all cases is 2 outposts by the time we get to the end. That's okay, though. Let's just start off with this mission right here. So we can either play in the Highlands or we can play on the Arid Lands. It's up to you which one you want to take. We play in the Highlands. We're going to get 50 stone, 5 wood. We're going to get 10 morale and 10 workers. If we go to the small Arid Land, we get a bunch of morale, we get 10 food, and we get 50 wood and $20. I'll probably go... Let's go with the Arid Land first, because I think this is going to be a little bit tighter. Every single time you do a mission, you're going to get the ability to grab a relic, and these relics do various things. So I'm going to take the Ancient Glove, because I like the Ancient Glove. It allows me to throw out my hand and basically get a new one if I don't like the buildings that I get. This game does have card-based mechanics, so that is something that you're going to have to deal with along the way. However, for right now, our objective is to get 20 people living inside this little town so that we can move on. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start out with, let's go with a couple residential passes and then farming passes. Basically, every single building is sorted by what it does into one of these categories. And part of the planning of the game is that for the next 5 turns, basically, you're going to pick which of these decks that you're drawing from on each of those turns. So right here, we have 3 turns of residential, and then we have 2 turns of farming. As far as the UI goes, top left-hand corner, we have our loyalty. If that ever goes down to 0, we lose the game. This right here is how many workers we have available. Housing gives you workers, and then workers are consumed by buildings that produce products. As far as products go, we have food, we have bricks, we have water, we have wood, we have stone, and we have metal. Down here are relics. And then right here is our cash flow. And in fact, I will say that I think this game has one of the best money displays I've seen in a video game since Kingdom New Lands. It's very, very good, and it's very, very satisfying. They did a super good job picking the sound effects. We also have our hand that we drew from the residential deck down here. And then up in the top right, we've got ourselves the shop. As our population gets higher, the shop will unlock new buildings, and we will buy it with the money that we're generating by placing our buildings carefully. We've got the overworld map that tells us our objectives and how many things we're going to be able to carry with us into the next mission. And then we also have the trading interface. So if we wanted to right now, we could take wood and we could trade it for bricks. And every single turn, we would lose a wood and gain a brick, so on and so forth. We've got our... I think this is like an encyclopedia, basically, that just tells you about all the buildings you have available. And then right here, we have tutorials, just in case you get lost. We can also zoom in, we can zoom out, all that kind of fun stuff. So let's go ahead and start dropping some buildings into play. We've only really got to get like 20 people living here. So when you place a building, buildings in this game have a radius around them. Buildings of a similar type don't like to be next to each other. And so anyways, you want to take that into account because you're either going to get a bonus or a malus to the amount of money you get for each building placement based on what its neighboring buildings are. So we'll put this guy in right here, and then we can put a house on top of it. Some of the buildings are modular, and in fact, there's a really fun relic I like called the Tower that allows you to infinitely stack buildings and just ignore their requirements. It makes me really happy because that's when your cities start to look really, really unique, is when you have the Tower as a relic. So much so that I think the Tower, honestly, should probably be just like a default thing that you just get, in all honesty. I do have the 7-sided die right here. Yeah, I'll click it. It'll give me 7 cards to play around with. I don't get to carry that many resources with me into the next level anyways, so I'll put in a big house right there for 5 population, and then I'll put a house on top of there, and then we're unlocking all kinds of buildings right now. God, I love that money animation. It's so satisfying. It makes me so happy with all the clinkies and jinglies. Yeah, just listen to it. Yeah, that's the stuff right there. That's the good stuff. Can you feel the dopamine? Can you feel it? We only need like 7 more people, and then we're out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the tower right there. We've unlocked the stone tower, so that's nice. Put that over on that side, and then anytime you discard a card, you lose loyalty. And so just keep that in mind as you're playing. We'll put in a big house right there, and we are done with the mission. You can keep playing, and you can keep trying to maximize your score if you desire to do so. And you can kind of try to maximize the amount of resources and the amount of things that you're taking back to the Imperial lands. I don't much see the point, so I'm not going to really bother. However, we do want to spend our money before we go because we can only take a couple coins with us into the next level. So I would like to buy platforms, and I would like to get... Let's do... Oh, we don't have the money for these. Weak. We're like too short. I can fix that. I can fix that. There we go. Perfect. Now we have enough monies to grab one more thing before we leave. I would recommend the sand extractor. It allows us to generate our own bricks. And I find that when something kills my run, it's almost universally not having enough bricks. We're going to go ahead and finish this village right here. And it's going to give us our score. The score is not just a score, it's the amount of money we made that we can take back to the capital. And so anyways, on this one we made about 3,500 bucks. Not bad. That's more than enough for an upgrade, so that's nice. We've also got a question mark event right here that we can take a look at. You found some miners and their families working in a stone quarry. You get close, and they invite you and your companions to rest in their camp, and you accept. After a long rest, they ask you for some help with their quarry. In exchange, they will give us stone for our journey. I would suggest we just skip this one. We're not really going to need the stone that badly. So I'm going to say do nothing, and we'll just use the stone as trade fodder for either food or bricks. We do have another mission right here, and we can go with a small desert land, which will fix our brick problem, or we can go with the small highlands. I think I'd like to fix my brick problem. That right there gives me plus 50 to bricks, and we're going to need bricks if we want to go any further. Let's see here. We've got the ancient seed. That will allow us to get 10 free food. Okay, we've got the compass. That allows us to summon more merchants. That's also not bad. So we can make 3 trades instead of 1. And then there's a fertilizer over here that makes our farms produce more food, but they need more water in order to function. I think I'm going to take the... Ooh, that's a tough call. I think I'm going to take the 10 free food relic. Yeah, because that's giving us 10 free food per turn, which really gives us a little bit more leeway when it comes to starting out. Now, this is a very, very small map, so we're going to need to be careful about the way that we use our space. However, if you see these little lumps over here, like these little sand boobs, these things right here can be used to put down platforms that will create like an upraised area that we can play around with, and so I think it'll be all right. We're going to want platforms on the first turn. We're going to want... residential. Actually, no, we want platforms, we want farming, we want residential, and maybe another farming, but we're going to have to be really careful with over farming here because if we use up all of our space on farms, it's not going to end well for us. So I'll go ahead and take this thing over here. There we go. And we'll drop a couple platforms on in. That's given us an extra like 9 spaces to play around with. In general, platforms create more space than they use up because they take up 1 tile, but they give you 3 tiles. And so like careful deployment of platforms. In addition, by the way, in addition to also if you have the castle relic, you can stack platforms and you can get some pretty cool stuff going on. All right. So we've got 3 farms. That's not great. That's not actually that good. What I need to do then is I need to trade food for water. I was hoping we would get a well in here, and we did not get a well. That's going to help out with our food supply, but like... yeah, we probably don't want to drop a second one, otherwise bad things are going to happen. I'm just going to take the loyalty hit. All right, so with what we've got right here, we've got a tower and we've got 2 houses. So we can put a tower right there, and we'll slap a house on top of it. And then I would say put a house maybe... well, never put a house on the base level. That's a waste, because houses stack on top of so many things that it just feels wasteful to me. All right, so we'll put that right there. It feels like it wastes space, is what I'm trying to say. And so I try not to ever put a house on a ground level if I can stack them up instead. So there we go. Perfect. I'm going to leave that house and let it do its thing. Hopefully we can fix our loyalty on a later turn by just making sure... hey, we got wells this time. Very nice. Okay, so I'm going to put a well right there. And I am going to put a well right there. Perfect. And then we'll drop another farm in. And I think that should be enough food for us to finish the level. We've got to get to 40 population, and we're at 10 already. Yeah, I think that'll be all right. How much can I bring with me to the next map? Pretty much 28 is the maximum, and I can't really bring any money with me either. Okay, I was trying to decide if I wanted to produce some bricks or not, but if we can't really carry them with us, who cares? We'll build the bricks later. Let's just go all in on residential for right now. And we can't carry that much food with us anyways, so if we end up with a little bit of like a downturn in the amount of food we have, I'm not going to sweat about it. There we go. That got us up to 15 population. I don't think I have enough money to buy another building yet. Yeah, these are all going to cost 50, so we're going to have to wait a little while before we get to that point. But, it keeps giving me nothing but houses, man. Nothing but houses. And I don't want to place houses. Like, houses are a waste of space. There we go. That's a much better hand. I'll take that. We can put that right there. We'll put a tower right there. And then we'll finalize a house right there. And that's allowed us to unlock the stone house. Ugh, the satisfying clinking of money, dude. I just can't get over how good the money sounds in this game. All right, so we want to get, let's see, a stone tower. You can only build a stone house on top of it. A stone house, you can only build stone towers over it. Yeah, let's get the stone house. Why not? Maybe it'll be cool. And in fact, we picked one right there. The stone houses apparently don't like being next to the brick houses. How much population do I get for that? Oh, I got a bunch of population for that. What we just unlocked right there is called the mill. What the mill does is if you put it adjacent next to a farm, it'll increase the amount of food produced by the farm by like 20 tons. So it's pretty good. It's not bad. We'll go ahead and we'll pop in a tower right there, and we'll put in another house right there, and that means that we have effectively completed the mission. Oh, I could have clicked the feather to lower my building costs down to 1. Lame. Okay, we'll play one more turn out. Just to maybe see if we can unlock another building before we move along. I'd like to get the tower unlocked. We got a couple of towers right there. I'll put you right there. I'll place you right there. And I will place you right there. And that should be a big old grip of cash. Yep, put it inside the coffer. Okay, so let's buy ourselves a new building, shall we? I'm going to get the... Yeah, I think I'm going to get the windmill. The windmill sounds like a really, really good idea. So that's what I'm going to take. On this map, we should have gotten a much better score because our population was way higher. Actually, in fact, due to our loyalty drop, it looks like our score was about similar, unfortunately. RIP. Wah, 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 wah. All right. Well, you find some miners and their families. Oh, it's another stone quarry. Do nothing. I don't really care. Like, we got the same event twice. Not really that worried about it. Over here, I would like to get a sand extraction outpost. I think. Actually, we may need wood cutting because I can make my own bricks. I can't make my own wood as of right now. Let's do the wood cutting outpost. And then we can go to floating islands or we can go to small highlands. Let's go with the small floating islands because I think this is one of the more interesting biomes. Improvements in the sales of airships, so your transport gets better. During your discard phase, you can hold on to 1 card. Clicking this artifact discards all cards in your hand, and you get an amount of food equal to the discarded cards multiplied by 5. Let's go ahead and we'll do the Ancient Book for right now. Holding on to a card seems pretty good. And then we need to... I got the sand extractor, right? Okay. So we need construction up first so that we can replenish our brick supply. After that, we're going to need farming, and then we're going to go 3 residentials. Okay, so there's all of our sand extractors. I will put one right there. And I will put one right there. And I will put one right there. Yeah, that sounds good. I don't have any workers left, so this next turn's going to hurt. Yep. Yep. Yep, 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 yep. I'll probably hold on to the well. And let's get some population going. Luckily, I got a big house and I got a tower on this turn, so that's really nice. We'll put down the well to start generating some water and just making sure that we've got like a tiny trickle. And I don't mean to be punny right there. It just happened all by its lonesome. But anyways, how much do I need for this map? I need 60 population. Yeah, this might get a little bit interesting. I may platform the hell out of that one up top because we used up a lot of space generating bricks over here. We'll see. I don't know exactly what I want to do right there. We've got a tower right there that will fit. We've got a stone house right here that will conceivably fit. If not be a little bit pricey. And then we've got another little house right there that we can place. Good. And one of the things I didn't even notice this until like an hour ago. I've got like 7 hours in this game, and I never noticed that there's little people walking around in between the buildings. I don't know how I didn't notice that detail, but like I never noticed that there was like little people milling around doing little people stuff. I'll probably drop that bad boy right there. Put another stone district over there. That's got us enough money for another building. Let's go ahead and buy the stone towers. And what we need is farming. So we need like 2 rounds of farming. We need 1 round of platforms and 2 rounds of residential. Okay. So we're going to put in a farm right there. We're going to put in a windmill right there. And that's going to entirely fix our food problems. I'm going to discard and redraw real quick just to see what I get. And it looks like I got a well, which I'm okay with. I don't mind it. Another round of farming may actually not be necessary here. Like I may have wasted my time. I'll hold on to the well for now. Or I'm sorry, I'll hold on to the farm for now. There's our platforms, but we got a pile of dry earth instead of what I wanted, which kind of sucks. Let's go ahead and put those platforms up there just to maximize our space. I don't think we're going to have any problem hitting 60 population, but oh boy. Those cards don't do anything. So basically that's a dry earth card. There are artifacts you can have that combo off of dry earth cards, so they'll like convert all your dry earth cards into bricks, or they'll convert all your dry earth cards into food, or something like that, but we don't have like the relics right now, so dried earth is kind of useless. We have a tower, and we have a house. I can fit a tower right there. No problemo. Fit a house right there. We did get a stone tower, and the stone towers can go on top of stone houses. 17 gold for that. You love to see it. That's the good stuff right there. We will go ahead and drop another tower in, I think, right there. And then really, I need that farm to go away. There we go. I'll just put it up there. We are struggling with bricks a little bit, but I think we're ready to make a residential sprint and just finish the level. It should still be fine. Like, it's not going to be happy about it, but I'm just going to do it anyways. We'll buy the stone mine right there, and that's it. We have all the buildings unlocked. The game is fairly limited right now with regards to, like, building variety and stuff like that, but I'm hoping they'll get a lot more added in as time goes along. That's really, like, my feeling about the game right now is that I think this alpha is both visually and mechanically really appealing and, like, really exciting and very relaxing. I really think all that it needs is just, like, a few more mechanics. Like, it just needs an extra layer or two of frosting on top of the cake, because the foundational cake is good. It just needs, you know, now it needs, like, the set decoration and, like, the extra little things that you have to take into account as you're playing the game. And I think they'll be in a really, really good spot. We do have stuff for towers up here, so I'll just go ahead and drop them in the hopes that maybe we get a house soon. We did indeed get a house right here. So I'll plop that right there. Plop you right there. And you right there, and there it is. We've completed yet another township. And this one actually looks pretty unique. I like the look of it. It's not a bad-looking village. Like, it's one of those games that, like, there's just something about the saturated pixel art that really, really works for me on an artistic design level. And I think the buildings are also very pleasing to look at. They've got, like, somewhere in between, like, kind of old Sicilian design. You know what I mean? Like the old Roman buildings with just like a touch of Pueblo in there. Like, it's very, very good looking. Like, it's honestly a really pleasing game to look at. Yeah, it's got almost kind of like a Roman meets Pueblo thing happening. We're pretty much done with this map, by the way. We don't really need to keep playing this one. It's always tempting to keep going, though. I think I'll actually take a little bit of a loyalty hit because I don't know How much can I carry with me to the next level? I can only carry 8 bricks with me to the next level. Yikes, that's going to get tight. Okay, well, we may actually go back and just do some upgrading then, because this has been a pretty fortuitous run. If we go back to town right now, we'll have 5,600 resources to play around with. Let's finish it. Yeah, let's stamp this thing as the Imperator, and then we'll just go back to town and kind of see what it is that we can play around with. So we could renovate our throne room. We could buy this upgrade right here for 5K. That'll get rid of some of the cracks and things in the walls. It's doable. And that would give us access to platforms. Yeah, let's do it. There you go. So some of the cracks and some of the relief have been removed from the walls over here, and the throne room is getting a little bit nicer. But yeah, this is Vertical Kingdoms. I feel like you've got the rough idea of how the game functions. I don't know if I've seen too many kind of city-building roguelites outside of, like, Kenga. It's not an idea that gets played around with very much, with kind of, like, meta progression and other things. Like, I will say that the spice of life is going to be what decides whether or not this game really pops when it goes to market. So in my opinion, it's going to need like double or triple the amount of buildings like unlockable as you're going through the game in order to really like stay its course. And then also the addition, I think, of like an endless mode would really put it like in a really, really good position. I also feel like the game needs some kind of external actor, and maybe like I'm not that far into the game yet, but peacefully building cities is fine. But without some kind of outside force applying like negatives and like disasters and things like that that you have to deal with along the way, I'm kind of curious what tension could be injected into the roguelike mechanics that the game have laid out so far. But that's really my only concern, is that, A, I don't think there's enough buildings and enough variety and things that you can do, and I think that there needs to be antagonists and other things that are kind of going wrong while you're on your run, so maybe curses or something like that as well. That, like, there should be, you know, like, super buildings that cancel out a curse, but it takes a lot of resources to build one. Or, you know, there should be buildings that increase the amount of trades that you can, like, participate in, and that should not just be like a metagame thing. It should also be like a per-run thing as well. There's lots of thoughts to be had here, but I do think that they have a very solid foundation. Don't take those observations as being a denouncement of the game, because they're 100% not. They're just thoughts, since the game is in alpha, and, you know, people are always looking for feedback when their games are in alpha. I just think it needs more stuff, like more things, but from what I've seen so far in this alpha, it's kept me entertained for about 6 hours, which is not bad for, you know, a feedback alpha that the developer sent on over. And honestly, the visual stylings of the game are just utterly mouthwatering. It's such a good-looking title. Anyways, I'll see y'all later. Thank you for stopping on in. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we had Vertical Kingdoms, a very simple, I guess, kingdom-building roguelike that I like. I think it's pretty cool. I'll see y'all tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet. But until then, it's time for me to go. Bye, everybody.